What's up YouTube? Welcome back Ghost fam and welcome back to Ghost One More Mod. So you are interested in upgrading to a real authentic Dale PH25 resistor for your ion arm on your proton pack, or maybe you want to upgrade to a more authentic, better sounding power switch, or maybe you're just here because you want to know how to take the dang ion arm off your Haslab Proton Pack. I'm going to show you how to do all three right now. So getting the ion arm off of the Haslab Proton Pack isn't too bad of a process. You do obviously have to take your motherboard off to get inside the pack, but once you do that, we're talking 4 plus 6, we're talking 10 screws. So it's not too bad. And I have in my hands two different ones. I've yet to decide which one I want to go with. We have one that has the circle and the ring, and then I have the unicorn one, which is an original with no ring and circle, which was hard to find and not cheap. So I'm trying to figure out which version I want to go with. I'm kind of leaning towards the one with no ring, just because anyone who I guess is in this game will know that that's more of the original. Got this power switch from off Etsy shop from Punk Rocket Props. They make 3 different versions. They make one for Spirit Pack, they make one for the Haslab Hasbro, and they make a full scale one. Obviously I got the one for the Haslab. But why upgrade this? Well, one, it's actually a little bit of a bigger switch, more closely to the size used in Afterlife. And if you listen to this switch here, this is what it sounds like. It's tick tick, and I will tell you what's really making that ticking sound once we get into the inside of the Haslab Proton Pack, but listen to this. It doesn't have any give. It takes just a tiny bit of force and a beautiful click sound. So it's more of a feeling, but you also get the aesthetics. Like I said, Punk Rocket Props off Etsy is where I got the power switch. They are from Newark, so shipping was a little much to send over to the US, but it was worth the time and the wait. So enough talk, let's get to modding. Okay, once you have your motherboard off, I have laid my proton pack on the side just to kind of show you where these screws are. And the 4 that we want to do to get the ion arm off, there is one that's kind of hidden behind my speaker cable right here, so I'll just kind of move that out of the way so you can see it. But there's 1, and then 2, 3, and 4. We're going to loosen those, and after we loosen those, then we'll just be able to snap this ion arm off, and then we'll be able to proceed with the other 6 screws. That is basically just a shell. Alright, now that those 4 screws are out, before you start pulling on the ion arm, we want to disconnect this white JST cable. It is a 2-strand, one is red and black. You'll notice that this kind of goes into a hole, and that's what feeds the red power switch. You want to carefully disconnect that before you pull that, because this cable really only has about 1 inch of slack. So when you'll see that when we pull this ion arm out, it's nothing, 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 and then gives and has this little pop. So it's really easy to kind of go have some strength and then just pull it, and I don't want to risk damaging this JST connector. So pull this out first, either before or after those 4 screws, but as long as this is disconnected. And last but not least, before we start tugging, just disconnect the Dale and blue hose from the ion arm. So just put that aside. And now we can kind of start to pull away from the proton pack and also away from the booster tube. So I'm going to rotate the pack now and start pulling. Okay, you won't be holding your pack like this, but because camera angles are so much fun and necessary, I just kind of want to show you what we're doing. So we're going to be pulling away from the pack here in this downward motion, but we're also going to be pulling it away from the booster tube. There are little kind of clips that this reside into the booster tube here, and there's a little bit of wraparound here. But my whole thing is if I kind of pull down and out like that, and did you see how quick that came? And that is why we want to disconnect that JST cable. So let me set that down and kind of show you this completely disconnected. So that's off the proton pack, and now we will have access 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 final screws. So just get your Phillips screwdriver and undo these 6 screws now. And there we go. With our 6 screws out, just simply pull apart. And there we go. We have complete access now to our power switch as well as our Dale PH25 fake resistor, which is just that screw there. Remove this screw and take this fake resistor out. So getting that fake resistor out is just a matter of this one screw here. And this just comes out like that, but we know that this will not fit, so we will have to do a little bit of rounding out to make sure that we can get this core of the resistor in. Once that's through, then we can take the gold nut and lock that down. So at this point, I'm probably going to get either some snips or a drill and just make sure I can get this sitting nice and flush. All right, I have laid some paper towels down because I feel like we're about to make a mess. I'm going to get several drill bits, eventually working my way up to this big boy 1/2 inch drill bit. You could use a Dremel. It might be a better tool, but ultimately what we're gonna try to do is try to drill this hole out larger gradually until we can get close to the thickness of this resistor, which eyeballing it, it looks to be pretty close to this 1/2 inch. And then hopefully this will fit in. This looks like it's going to fit in really close, but upon further inspection, it sits almost completely flush. But then I did notice this little tiny notch right there that I'm just gonna snip out, which I could probably do now, but I'll probably wait till the end. So I'll just get rid of that little notch. That way this nut will sit completely flush recessed in the stock cutout. So that'll be good. But at this point, I'm gonna put in my 1/4 inch and start drilling my way up. I think now that I've gotten all the way up right before my 1/2 inch, I'm just gonna, and this wall here is pretty thin, I'm gonna grab my snips and I'm going to just cut this out. I feel like that'll be less resistance when I go up to the 1/2 inch, and I won't need this bump out anyway. And at that time, I can also delete this little notch that I was concerned about with the gold nut. So I'm gonna grab my snips now. That little notch is so small, but I can tell that it'll sit so much better with just nothing there. Let's try it now. But, ooh, it felt like it snapped in there for a quick sec. Yeah, that made all the difference. That is completely pressure fitted right now, and it is sitting flush. So there's just that little tiny notch that I had to snip away. Anyway, I'm gonna take this out. Felt good. And go up to my 1/2 inch and see if this is close enough to get that Dale resistor in. Lots of plastic. Lots of plastic. I don't think we're there yet, but I bet we're close. We're close. Man, we're close. All right. Oh yeah, okay. I should be able to put this however I want. I'm going to adhere this, not just pressure fit, but also glue. Will look something like that. So that's what it will look like. It'll look really good. And from the inside, I'm gonna pause here though, because I think now is a better opportunity to switch to the power switch. I'm sure I have enough clearance, but just for one less thing in my way, I don't have to worry about knocking that, since we're gonna have to do a little cutout for the power switch. So I'm gonna pivot to the power switch and work on that now. So your red power switch is just held in by these 2 Phillips screws. So grab your screwdriver and remove these 2. And getting the red switch out after these 2 screws are out, it's a little finicky, but you just kind of have to shimmy it back and forth a little bit. And then I will show you what is making that little tink sound, the tiniest little click. All right, so you're gonna initially just pull up and you're gonna feel like resistance, like it's not going anywhere. Just kind of go back and forth with this red switch and it'll come out. And here is actually what's happening. So this is just kind of like a hollow shell of a power switch. There's just a little notch cut out there. And when you flick this, this is actually just moving this toggle. So that is what is making that little tink sound. So it's doesn't really give good feedback, doesn't have a nice clunk sound to it. You could desolder this if you wanted like to do the absolute best thing, but since I'm not going to be using this toggle again, but I do want to reuse this JST, I'm just going to do the shortcut here and just snip it off the leads, and then I'll strip a little cable and then I'll solder that. We are going to do a little bit of soldering for the new power switch, so grab your portable solder. I have this one. It's nothing fancy, but it does the job. It's Ryobi. It's nothing fancy, pretty inexpensive. If you don't have one, I'll find one and leave a link in the description below for you. Looks pretty good. All right, there we go. Not perfect, but it is in there. It's solid. It's not going anywhere, and it is good. So next, we need to remove the old red switch. Basically, there's 2 clips. They are just friction based, but I could not push them out for the life of me. So what I did is I snipped this one that was the inner one. This one, there's another wall right next to it, and my snips could barely get in there. So I just snipped this down. It was about, I don't know, ½ an inch. And then after that, I found success with getting a flathead and then pushing on that clip that you snapped from the inside. And there you go. When you order this from Etsy, they do give you a new template included. And so we're going to use this template. I'm going to get some tape and just kind of mark that where I need to make these holes bigger, and that way we can insert our new red power switch. So I just finished taping the template down. Just take your time going over it, trying to align it as close as possible. Obviously this red and white area is what we need to enlarge, which if I look here, I mean, it looks like it's basically going about really from this line to the circle to this line, like just this rectangle here. So I think instead, I don't know if I'm gonna use a Dremel or use my snips. I have a good starting point, but basically I'm just gonna go straight across, up, straight across, down, and just widen that out to make that red and white rectangle. All right, I'm going for it. Decided I'm gonna use snips for the starting point at least. If I can just, yeah, it goes through real easy. Get these walls out of the way, because I know I'm not using the walls. With enough trimming, if I would do over again, you know what, I would have just gotten my Dremel out, but it's late tonight and I don't feel like waking people up. But I gotta say, I think this template is fine for the length, but I don't know about the width. Like, I'm trying to figure out, here is a inside view, and I don't know if it needed to be that wide, unless they're really just talking about for this inner ridge. So I'm gonna pause here and make an executive decision on how I want to secure this, but nonetheless, that is how it's looking. So after looking at this a little bit more, I feel like sugar or moldable clay is way overkill, so I'm just going to use some liquid super glue. If you have hot glue, you could use that as well. I'm just going to tape the switch down in its place so it doesn't, shift around left or right. So I'm going to apply some super glue inside now. All right, I'm going to let that dry. All right, our switch is dry and it feels very secure. Actually very happy with that. So what I want to do is I have already kind of greased up the red switch, kind of dolled it up a little bit. This one is a matte look. I want to go a little bit with that look, but I want to even grunge it up and give it some weathering anyway. If you want to do what I'm about to do, this is one of those things where less is more. You can actually just use fire, very little, and you can kind of give like a burnt look, because I'm thinking if I actually put in a real resistor near a power switch, this is probably likely to take some heat. So I actually want to kind of give it a weathered look. And here we go. I basically got this look where it looks grunged up, looks a little greasy from, this is where you would use your slimy hands to flick the switch, and listen to that now. I mean, that is a nice, satisfying. That sounds good. And I like this grunge look. I like this grunged up, worn, weathered look. All right, we're circling back to the Dale resistor part. One thing to note, you're going to want to experiment which direction you want this nut to go. Ultimately, if you want to be movie accurate, you want the resistor, these I'll call them fins if you will, to be horizontal. That will more match the movie instead of having them being vertical. So just play around with the angle of your nut and you'll figure out ultimately where that needs to go before you glue it down. That way the fins are horizontal. Alright, you heard a nice click. That fit took a little bit of finagling, but that fits so well pressure fitted that that super glue is just extra reinforcement. But alright, I don't even think I really need that. Give time to dry. I'm just going to get the resistor in here and add a couple drops of super glue on those threads. Alright, I am going to let that sit and then we can get back to reassembly. Okay, so reassembly is pretty much straightforward. If your little wall came off during drilling or if you just removed it, feed that through the wire and you're going to use the straight edge, not the one with the little cutout. Put that into that lip, and then this lip is going to recess into this outer shell, and that just squeezes it together. Then you'll take your 6 screws and put them back, these 3 holes and these 3 holes here. Okay, if you thought getting this off the pack was difficult, getting it on is just as challenging. Obviously, feed your wire through this hole first, make sure that it's cleared coming on the inside of the pack. Basically, this is just about using the same amount as pressure, but in reverse order. So you're gonna see these pegs here. When you initially put this down, obviously line it up with the flanges here, but these 2 pegs are hitting the lip of this wall. So you pretty much just have to put downward pressure. I'm also gonna kind of lift up a little bit here and just kind of smash it down, and you'll hear a noticeable click like that. Once those pegs are in, then we should see that this has to snap down in place like that. It sounds terrible, but that's the method. Now we can flip the pack over, and I believe there's 4 screws that we have to put in, and then connect our power cable. All right, and gosh, look at that, just enough slack. All right, let's get this power cable in. Okay, moment of truth. All right, Talon cell is on. We have blue light. That's a good sign. I can't get over these Imperial Tech Shop lenses. Anyway, there is the Dale resistor in its flesh. That looks really good. And just this like brass that complements like this brass. It's authentic. It's real. I'm happy that I was able to finally swap that out. And at the same time, the new power switch. So here is the moment of truth. Let's flip this on with a nice little clunk. Love it. Looks good, sounds good. I'm happy that I was able to knock both these things out at the exact same time. Show you guys how to take this off, get inside of it, do a little soldering at the same time. Make sure you guys can hear me. That clunk, that nice little... it's a feeling. It's hard. I don't know if the sound actually comes across on video or not, but like a nice audible click. It's a good feeling. Strong, sturdy. I just love the look of the new, real authentic Dale resistor, and the feeling and the look of the actual power switch that we soldered in. Has a nice solid clunk, nice solid feel, and just overall using authentic parts is really making the pack look awesome. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you found it helpful how to get the ion arm off and upgrade your parts, greatly appreciate the thumbs up, and if you haven't done already, please subscribe. Catch you guys next time.